I did, however, miss Cerrone. After all the triple checking and psyching myself up, I looked over to the autograph stand, and Cerrone was gone. The crowd was gone. The person running the event was gone, too. What the fuck? The only guy still there was a security guard. Excuse me, I asked in panic. Do you know where Rick Cerrone is? I'm with WLIR, and we're supposed to do an interview. He left, the guard said. I know, but he agreed to do an interview with me 10 minutes ago, and now he's not here. Where did he go? I don't know. Come on, man, look at me. I need to get this interview. He said he would do it. Maybe he pitied me. Maybe he was already bored of the conversation. Maybe he was a Hole & Oates fan. In any case, he told me, check the mall office. I sprinted up an escalator to the mall offices and banged on the door. It opened about an inch. The guy behind it put his face in the crack and said, what do you want? I want to interview Rick, I said. He agreed to talk to me after the autograph session. He's busy, the guy answered, and started to shut the door. But before he could close it, I wedged my foot in the crack. I literally had my foot in the door. To this day, where on earth I got the balls to do that, I have no idea. It was Rick Cerrone, not Rick James. What are you doing? He asked me. He was not happy. I was supposed to interview Rick Cerrone, I answered. Before it escalated, I heard a voice from behind the door. It was Cerrone. It's okay, let him in. Let's do it. I turned on my tape recorder. It worked, and then fired out this question. Do you guys see it as a failure that you lost the pennant? His eyes burned with anger, not because it was a yes or no question. We won 103 games this year. How is that a failure? The interview ended shortly after that, but I got it done, and it aired all weekend long. I considered it a victory for Met fans everywhere.
And now more conversation with the Booey.
I'm sitting here talking with Steve North, who sort of a mentor to me. I interned for him when I was a sophomore in college, and he really helped me along the way. So I guess my first question to you, Steve, was I know that when I first met you, I think I was 19 years old, living at home with my parents, and I was very Guido-y, Long Island. What was your first impression of me?
Guido-y, Long Island. Interesting. Well, you were 19, and when I think about it, I was only 27 at the time, but I had been in the business for a decade already, and I'd worked at ABC, and WLIR was the second radio station where I was news director. So I had enough experience with interns to know who had the potential for a career in broadcasting, and who, on the other hand, was going to be reminiscing fondly about their internship at a radio or TV station while ringing up customers at Home Depot years later. And you were obviously in the first category.
You know, we probably weren't that far apart in age, but you had a job and you were on the air, and so you just seemed like a million years older than me.
And I felt like it. But you know, Gary, you aced every assignment that we sent you on, you know, from covering the John Lennon Memorial to a crime story at Adelphi, and you knew a lot. You taught me things about the local corrupt politics, which I never knew before, which astonished me. You were a funny and smart guy, and it was great to become friends. And
the thing that I remember too is you sent me out on my first assignment, which I talk about in the book, which was for Handy Capable Day, and I came back and you said, let me see what you got. And I pressed the tape recorder down and I said to somebody, are you having a good time? And they said, yes. And you stopped the recorder and you said, never ask a yes or no question. So right off the bat, you were very good about working with the interns and teaching them. But the thing that was so huge was you took like 10 seconds of my tape and you put it in the story that day and you said, WLIR's Gary Dell'Abate asked, what do you think of this? And, do you have any idea what that means to a kid in college to be, because I was trying to explain in the book, the radio station was a very, very big deal on Long Island. They were very progressive, and a lot of people listened to them. They were very popular.
It was a big deal on Long Island and outside of Long Island. It really was a trendsetter in the industry, and people listened in the entire New York metropolitan area. We used to get phone calls from people who said they would hang out of their apartment with an antenna in Manhattan in order to get the signal of the station. So it's a very influential station aside from its coverage area, and I can only imagine what it was like for a kid to appear on the station, to have your name there and then your voice on the station.
So now here we are, and it's I interned for you when I was 19. I'm going to be 50 in a few months. So did you ever imagine that we know each other this long? And are you surprised that I'm still doing what I'm doing?
What has been somewhat of a surprise has been the progress of your career, the meteoric rise, and it's been a source of pride watching your career. And on the personal side, even though we've had opposite schedules for a long time, I've been happy to be there for you for important life cycle events, from your wedding to when your dad passed away. And just visiting you in Connecticut and seeing the wonderful life you've created with Mary and the boys was a very moving moment for me. And knowing that I had a small part in your professional success has always been a source of great satisfaction for me.
Well, I say everybody needs a guardian angel to, sort of help them move along, and you were mine. So I thank you very much, Steve.
My pleasure, Gary.
Baba Booey's Top 7 Concerts. You don't sully a list like this just to get to 10.
Number 1, Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti Tour, 1975, Nassau Coliseum. I went there with a friend and we paid $4 a piece for scalp tickets. This was the first concert I ever went to. Zeppelin opened with Rock and Roll, and for the encore, Robert Plant said, "This is a song we recorded that has become popular beyond our wildest dreams." Then they did Stairway to Heaven, one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. Number 2, Bruce Springsteen, The River Tour, 1980, Nassau Coliseum. I'd never been to see Springsteen. I've been trying to get tickets for a long time, and I always got shut out. I never had enough money, so finally my buddy Steve and I got tickets. We were in the second to last row, directly across from the stage. It was about as far away from the stage as you could be. But Springsteen made it feel like we were in his living room. When he told those stories, I totally bought into it, and I love that show because it's my first time seeing Bruce, one I'll never forget. The Clash, 1981, Bonds. The Clash was supposed to play 10 shows at this old Times Square men's clothing store that had been converted into a club. But the first night they played, the fire marshal shut them down. It was all over the news. The concert promoter had oversold the show. But they were a band of the people, and Mick Jones said they would honor every ticket that was bought. So they played for 27 nights. I think I saw them on the 25th night. It was my buddy Steve again. They were losing their voices, but it was an amazing show. The energy was unbelievable. Number 4, Talking Heads, Speaking in Tongues Tour, 1983, Westside Tennis Club Stadium, Forest Hills, Queens. This concert took place in the old stadium that was home to the U.S. Open in the late 70s. It was the middle of the summer, one of the hottest nights I can remember, just hot and humid. The show progressed chronologically, so it starts with David Byrne alone on stage carrying out a boombox and singing Psycho Killer. By the time Burning Down the House comes, the stage was full with every band member, percussionist, dancers, and everything. What a great night. Number 5, U2, The Joshua Tree Tour, 1980.